Chapter number 3. In this session, we'll talk about print statement, input statement, and comment. This session and next 10 sessions, we'll learn all about Python programming concepts like data types, conditions, loops, functions, etc. So I'm in my PyCharm, chapter number 3. So let's talk about comments first. So Python allows you to do one line comment. It doesn't allow you to do multi-line comments. Comments can be done with an hash, and anything followed is commented out. You can write different messages so that your program is easy to understand. Now here I said the aim of this program is to allow the user to input name and age. Now let's talk about the input statement. Input statement is a word input followed by open bracket, and in string I mentioned give me your name, and then I'm printing the name. So name is stored in a variable and then I'm printing the name. Similarly, I'm saying input enter your age as input and I'm storing it in a variable age, and then I'm printing both name and age here. We'll talk we'll talk about type bit later, but just to understand what we have learned so far, I'm going to run the program. So as soon as I ran the program input, it is asking me give me your name, which is same as what I've given here. So I'll say student. So it is printing your name is student as line number 4. Then it is asking me for the age. So let's say 10. It is saying it is printing out this saying student your age is 10. Now line number 8, what I've done is I've printed the type of age. Now this age or this name, when we do input and when the user enters the data, it is stored in the variable. Now this statement tells you that the type is a string. So whenever you enter an input, it is stored in the form of a string. Next, we can do some typecasting. So for example, if I want to change the age from string to integer, I do this typecasting. So I'm basically converting a string into an integer, and I'm storing it in a variable called agent, and we can print this. Age 10. So in this statement now it is saying your age is 10. Now if we do slight variation to this, let's say I don't want it to convert to int, but I want it to the age to be converted to a float. Now what is a float? A float is a number which can take decimals. So let's say age float, and let's print this. I'll save this doing Control S and then right click and then run input. Then student, let's say this time the student is 15 years old, and I've got your age is 15. There is no decimal here because I did a mistake. Even though I'm converting this to a float, I'm printing it as a decimal. So we need to do float and save. I'll have to run this again. Run student age 15. And this time I got in decimal. Now, in case in our next print statement, we'll talk more about how to print integer, decimal, and various different examples. So, just wanted to show you in this example input and how it is stored, etc. Next, we'll learn about print statement. So, we'll go through our print.py example. So the aim of this is to try out a different print statement. To start with, the print syntax is as shown here. So it is print, word print, followed by a bracket, and it can have multiple objects. It can have a parameter called separator, a parameter called end. You can also pass in a file to print, and you can have a flush with a boolean value true or false. We'll go through uh, examples here for object separator and end, and I'll explain to you briefly about file and flush. So to start with objects, now here I've got two objects, a string object hello and a string object how are you, separated by comma, so it is multiple objects. Now if I run this, you can see hello how are you. Now if we want to, let's say I want to show you how the separator works. So I'll save this and run this. So you can see there are two objects and I'm telling it to be separated by this. So you can see the effect. Now let's see how the third one, the separator with the end works, which is our third example. So let me save this and then run again. So here we are saying hello followed by separator, print the whole thing followed by the dollar sign. Now because we haven't given end of line, our next line print has come here. So next I'll comment it. We'll talk about different print statement. So let's run this again. So I'm printing this 5 values. So I'm printing a number 10 in a decimal format, exponential format, float format, octal format, and hexadecimal format. So in decimal format, the syntax is we give %d followed by for exponential %e and float %f and octal is %o and hexadecimal is %x, and you can see the values here. Now you can see for float number it has given 6 decimal points here, that is by default. So if I want just 2 decimal, I would say 0.2f. Save this number and let me show you this example, and you can see only 2 decimal is shown. And before we end this chapter, let me just show you the calculator. So I've opened up a calculator in programmer view, and let's say I want number 10. So just wanted to show you the output, compare it with this. Hexadecimal is A, decimal 10, octal is 12. as shown here, and binary we'll learn later. So file is you can print the whole file. If you give the file followed by the path name, it'll and do the print, it'll print the whole file. And flush, by default the value is false. It's a Boolean value, um, and it is used to flush the buffer. That's it for this chapter. Thank you.